Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
And this was further analyzed by the concept that we called it as the anode ray or the canal ray experiment. Now, the canal ray experiment was conducted by Goldstone in the year 1886. So, after the discovery of electron, it was understood that atom is not indivisible, but it is very much divisible, and it contains a subatomic particle, that is electron. And as because atom is electrically neutral, so the presence of negative charge electron did give rise that there must be a positive charge as well. So what did Goldstone do? He made some changes, some modification, and he in J.J. Thomson's cathode ray experiment. He kept the same discharge tube which was made up of hard glass. So the discharge tube was made up of hard glass. A pump was attached so that the air can be extracted out. Then again, just like J.J. Thomson, he made a cathode. And at the same time, he made an anode. So the anode is positively charged and cathode is negatively charged. But only change that he made with the cathode is that he had made the cathode perforated. He brought it closer to anode, slightly closer to the anode, and he made the cathode perforated. And he wanted to find out what would be his observation. So just like J.J. Thomson, he pumped out the air and he started with the experiment. When he allowed a high voltage current to flow through these electrodes, he found that the negative charges started moving. He knew that the negative charges were moving from the cathode towards the anode, because the negative charges which are actually electrons moved from the negative terminal towards the positive terminal. But suddenly he observed that there was some glow which was behind the cathode. Now the question is, what is that glow for? When he analyzed, he found that in an electron, when an electron was moving from the cathode towards the anode, the negative charges moved from one part to the other. So the positive charges which was left behind, these positive charges then started moving from the anode towards the cathode, and they passed through the perforation and then they struck against the discharge tube, thereby giving a red glow. And this invisible ray was termed as the anode ray because it seems to have originated from the anode, or also as canal ray because it was passing through the perforation of the cathode. That is, as if it was passing through the canals of the cathode. So this basically explained that if we draw an atom is made up of electrons and positive charges. Now, when electric current was passed through it, the negative and the positive charges split up. So the negative charges were moving from the negative end towards the positive end, whereas the positive charges were moving from the positive end towards the negative end. And thus it gave rise to the canal ray or the anode ray. So Goldstone, through further experimentation, he allowed the anode ray or the canal ray to pass through an electric field, and he found that it started deflecting towards the negative end, which made it very clear that anode ray is positively charged. And just like J.J. Thomson, he calculated the mass and the charge of the anode ray. Goldstone found that the mass, the size of this positive charge, which he later on named it as proton, was almost 1838 times that of an electron. That is, the size of a proton is comparatively large. Next, the mass of the proton was found out, and he found that the mass of a proton is 1.672 into 10 to the power minus 24 gram, and the charge that a proton carries is equal to plus 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. So the size of the proton was found, which is 1838 times that of an electron, that is, it is comparatively of larger size. The mass of the proton was found, which is 1.672 into 10 to the power minus 24 gram, which is also comparatively heavier, and the charge was found to be equivalent to that of electron, that is plus 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. So as because the charge of the proton, positive proton, and the negative electron was comparable, thus atoms are electrically neutral. So this two concepts, with the discovery of electron and proton, revolutionized the concept of the structure of atom. That whatever the postulate John Dalton gave in his famous postulate, atomic theory of atom, where he clearly stated that atom is indivisible, was discarded, and this new concept that atom is divisible with the positive proton and the negative electron was accepted. And these two concepts and these two particles actually explained that why atoms of different elements are different physically and chemically. Alright, I hope this is clear to you. So this entire concept changed the concept of the structure of atom.